we will be jumping around a little bit because we put different things together. So this is going to jump forward a bit. What made you leave the log cabin?
Well, there were two things. One, Gail was very concerned about fire because it was completely wood, made completely of wood. It was a log cabin. And it did eventually burn down in a fire eventually.
Oh.
Yeah, it was destroyed in a fire, which is why it's so ridiculous when these videos on YouTube go around and say that's the log cabin. And it's the house next door because the log cabin burned down in 1983.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you for setting the record straight.
Yeah. It's really wrong on there. Yeah, they do. And I put my comments in, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, that's one of the things we like to do on here and some of the questions we have actually are pointed at things like that, like rumors that we actually get to talk to somebody like you who is there and see.
And I have a record of it in my diary and everything. And there were no parties, and the house next door is not the log cabin.
We got those two. Check them off the list.
Yeah. So he left because of the fire risk, and also because it was becoming dangerous, really. One afternoon, it was a very, very hot afternoon, and the front door was open, and we were sitting on the sofa with a couple of the GTOs, and Wildman Fisher was there as well. And this man came to the door, and he had a suit on and a shirt and tie and smarmed down hair, nothing like all the hippies, and parted on the side and smarmed down hair. And he came in and said, "Frank Zappa, I've brought you a gift." And he handed Frank this, it was a bag, a see-through bag of red liquid, looked like blood. And Frank took it from him and turned round to the others as if to show it to them, as if to say, well, look at this, play to the stage sort of thing. And while he was doing that, this guy pulled out a gun and pointed it at Frank. And we all lost our breath. And Frank turned around, this gun was pointing right at him, about 2 feet away, I would say, because he just handed him the stuff. And Frank said, "Put the gun down." And the guy said, "I've just got it." And he said, "Well, if you don't put it down, the police will come and they'll find you and they'll put you in jail." And he said, I can't go in jail again, or something like that. Somehow or another, Frank talked this bloke into the fact that he shouldn't have this gun. And he said to the guy, "I know where you can hide it, because if the cops come, they'll get you and they'll put you in jail." So he told the guy to follow him, go with him out into the front, through the front door. And he indicated to us, like idiots, to follow him. And so we went out and stood round the pond. There was this deep pond it was full of algae. And we stood round it, and Frank picked up a stone and threw it in the pond. And he indicated to us to do the same. So it was indicating to him that he'd got to throw his gun in the pond. So Cinderella picked up, and she picked up something. I forget what she did. I've got it in the book. But anyway, and I picked up a twig, and that floated, so that was no good. And Wildman Fisher took off one of his holy shoes, because he only had whole shoes, and threw that in, and that floated as well. But it wasn't the idea. We're supposed to throw a stone in or something so it would sink. Anyway, then Frank told the guy to do it, and he did. He dropped the gun in the pond. I mean, it was really astonishing, really. It was.
That's amazing.
Then Frank gave him back the bag of blood and walked him down to the gate, which was always open, pushed him out the gate and closed it after him. And he came back, and we went in the house, and he closed the front door and went in the kitchen because we were all terrified. And I said to Frank, "Well, are you going to phone the police?" And he said, "No." And I said, why not? And he said, because he doesn't deserve to go to jail. And I just thought he was either an idiot or else he was the bravest man I knew. I wasn't sure.
Right.
But so there was this need to get out of the log cabin.